welcome back to the Retro Review. I am Happy Horny Harry, or better yet, known as the Bearded Geek. Joining me as always is Mikey the Freak.
What's up?
And Bebo.
So
He is back again. Tell a friend.
I'm gonna leave again if you start singing.
If you do not know by the Happy Horny Harry reference, we are reviewing the movie Pump Up the Volume. Bebo, why don't you tell us a little bit about this movie?
Basically, it opens up at a school. This school just it's your typical movie where the school is just trying to fudge everything, getting the stragglers, the loners, the stoners, everybody kicked out of school so that they can raise their numbers. And the morale for the kids who go to this school is just real shitty. And every night at 10 o'clock, they listen to a DJ that they have no idea who the hell it is. Sometimes he's on for 5 minutes. Sometimes it's 5 hours. Yeah. But it is a DJ that kind of they listen to because he is basically giving them a voice. He's basically voicing what everyone is thinking of. During the movie, you end up finding out, that the DJ is one of the kids who go to the school. It's played by Christian Slater. And it's just basically it's your typical movie of, the angst and stuff like that that's going on, the depression, what kids are really going through, and the fact that the adults don't listen to shit. They just, even if the kids try to talk to them about stuff, they're not listening. They think everything's hunky-dory. And he has to...
Hunky-dory.
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 That's right. That's a Southern term. It's right next to "would you, did you?" And fixing to. It's basically he has to figure out if he wants to really be the voice of the kids by the end of the movie. He keeps wanting to give up being the DJ, and then by the end of the movie, he figures out that he has to do this because if he doesn't, nobody else will. And then by the end of the movie, everybody's fucking arrested. No, just kidding. But there are some cops. There's a good chase at the end of this movie that you'll like. But that's pretty much what the movie's about. It's just a DJ trying to give voice to the kids and the fact that the adults aren't listening.
A voice of the voiceless.
Yeah.
No,
because then they'd be mute. These people can actually talk.
No, this movie, it was. I thought it was. It tackled a lot of things. It tackled, depression. It tackled LGBTQ at one point. It
teenage pregnancy.
It tackled a lot of what
suicide.
Yeah,
suicide as
well. And that's really what kicked off the movie. What the premise was is a guy wrote in and to Happy Harry, and if you leave a phone number in the letter, which who writes letters anymore? If you leave your number,
what's a letter?
Yeah, he'll call you and talk to you, and his letter said, "Should I kill myself?" And he tried to talk him down a little bit, but he never really said, "Don't do it."
Yeah. And
he ended up killing himself, and it was a big news article in the paper and stuff like that about it, and it kicked off. This guy is the radio DJ is a problem for some reason. I never really saw that as a problem. I thought he did everything he probably could have done at that time.
It's mainly them trying to find a scapegoat because in the adults world, nothing was wrong. That was something that, there was nothing wrong with that student or that kid. It was the DJ that made him do it, which is bullshit.
Right. This was a very, very thought-provoking movie, I would say. It had a great cast, I thought. It had Aubrey from from Little Shop of Horrors in it. It had
Ellen Green.
Yeah, it had Pepper from Major League. It had the dad from Teen Wolf. He was in it.
He played the FCC commissioner.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it had a decent
Well, I'll
cast.
cross out my setup. I'm sorry. Let me get all that out. What a dick.
Oops.
That's funny. I didn't even use Ellen Green. I didn't even use those two, so it's all right.
Okay. Well, sorry if I
You're
did it.
good.
Yeah.
You're
But
good.
no, I thought it was a very thought provoking movie. I thought it was shot very well. It was low budget, but not so low to where it was, anything was grainy or anything. I thought, it was shot pretty well. Mikey the Freak, what do you think about this movie?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head. Low budget, definitely. I think the most expensive was probably the renting the helicopter for the chase scene.
Which
everything else was kind of shot locally.
He's looking over the valley, and all of a sudden a light shoots down on the Jeep, and the helicopter's like 50 yards away. I'm like, dude, you didn't hear that fucking helicopter?
I know. You hear it when it's right on top, when the camera shoots up at him.
Yeah.
But yet you didn't hear a helicopter coming up on top of you.
That's
that didn't make any sense.
That's not how sound works.
Have you guys ever heard of stealth?
Stealth mode.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah.
In the 90s.
But no, maybe they probably had them on those toppers. But I think that being that it tackled a lot of teen issues, a lot more probably going on in the 90s because we were teens around that time frame, so we kind of can relate to what was going on. Because we had friends that were depressed and wanted to commit suicide, and I mean, shit, we had a friend that did commit suicide. So it comes down to understanding your kids and talking to your kids. I think it has a huge a play on the media influence, whether it be radio, television, and so forth, on who to blame. And you're right, they used him as a scapegoat because he was the last person the guy talked to, and they assumed because he wanted to kill himself and he provoked him, that Hard Harry actually provoked him to kill himself, which wasn't the case, as you guys watched. But that part of the movie I thought was very, very interesting, and all the in-depth thing, the constant listening to the actual, I guess you could say that his DJing or his talk radio, I guess really what it was, constantly kind of dragged on a little bit more. I didn't really have much on this movie other than it's another typical low budget Christian Slater movie. A C at best when it comes to Christian Slater, but interesting to follow. I think they went in depth more of a meaning on the movie to get out to teens, even parents, and then those schools do exist. They were getting rid of bad students to increase their SAT scores. The SAT score. So you had somebody that has a 500, 600, whatever SAT score, you kick them out of school and your law of averages go up. So that's kind of what the principal was thinking. And then when they uncovered the truth about the school that no one, really knew other than a couple of teachers, then that's when they tried to blow the lid off of it. And then it become more of a, let's really push the school and get her in trouble and use the power of influence and use the power of radio, even the power of suggestion, to turn the tides, not on Christian Slater's character and the suicide part, but yet to the school when they're the bad guys, not himself, and is trying to play himself out that way and become the good guy towards the end.
Yeah, it was basically saying, don't just stand there and take it.
Say something.
Rise up and say something. Use your voice. That's basically the premise of the movie. At least that's what I got out of it.
Pump up the volume.
Yep. Yay. Bevo, why don't you go ahead and give us your score on this movie?
For this one, I'm gonna put it at 7.
Solid 7, Bevo.
For me, it's a 7. I actually like the movie. The I like the thought-provoking, ness of the movie, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm also giving it a bump up from a 6. Why? Because there was a titty.
Yes.
Yes.
It gets a bump.
Nice little titties too.
The boob bump.
Yeah,
Boob bump.
it gets the
Half
boob
a
bump.
boob bump. Half
Yeah.
a boob bump.
So it got the boob bump, but no, I just liked the movie. I thought even for a typical Christian Slater film, I actually liked him in this. I thought he did well. What about you, Mikey?
Yeah, if Christian Slater ever watches these, we really apologize on our critiqueness of your movies. But I don't think he's going to watch. But
Mr. Slater, for the record, I didn't say it wasn't much as Mikey.
It's not him. Actually,
you're not the writer.
He does really well in the movies. It's just the direction of it and the budget.
Exactly. Yeah, bad dialogue and and
as you can tell, we're all about backpedaling here at the Back to the Retro review.
Just in case we ever hit it big.
Let's clear that shit up now, right? But yeah, I'm a middle of the road. Not as much that being that it's a low budget film. I mean, we've watched some low budget movies in the past, but or no budget movies.
That would be Mac and Me.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm in the middle of the road. I'm in the 5. I think it's a solid 5, and then the half a boob bump to 5.5. I wouldn't recommend the movie I'd say not to anybody. I mean, wasn't that bad of a movie. Like I said, I liked the meaning behind Pump Up the Volume and the actual the title of the movie, and then when you watch the movie you understand, pump up the volume, turn it up, turn your voice up, and tell people what you want to say and make them listen to what you have to say and be the voice of reasoning. And I think that in itself was a solid meaning, but not enough to give it, more than a 6 or 7, because I didn't think the acting was as great. It did look more like a, college type script that they wrote. Not very.
The way the movie was shot and everything reminds you very much of almost an after-school special type of a deal.
Yeah.
Like cinematography wise.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the most expensive thing that they did was probably the rental of the helicopter for the shoot, and it probably was less than an hour to get the shots in. But yeah, I think anybody probably could have shot a movie like that. You use the campus, you use a house, the basement of a house, or even a sound stage if you had to use that. But even that was probably expensive. They probably used the basement of the house.
Probably.
So yeah. So and then a neighborhood that's kind of isolated or being built, and you use that one house. So it kind of makes sense. But yeah, I'm at a 5.5 with the bump. Right. What about you, Bearded Freak?
Bearded Freak? Okay.
You're a Bearded Freak, baby. Freak.
Hey, you know me best. Anyway, no, I'm actually
going to give
different
show. To get tickets to that show, please log on to their OnlyFans.
That's not a bad idea.
That's a very bad idea.
Supplemental income.
Very bad idea.
No, I'm going to give this a 7.5. That is with the boob bump, of course. But I had never seen this movie before. This was one of the ones I'd never seen before. And it kept me interested throughout the whole thing simply because of the whole dynamic of, the topics that they were touching and stuff like that. The acting was, it wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It was what it was. It was middle of the road. Most things in this movie were middle of the road, but I enjoyed the subject matter that they had in this movie. So I'm going to give it a 7.5. I would recommend this to people to see, actually. So that's where I'm going to leave it right there. Bebo, do you have any movie trivia?
I got a couple things here. If you watch the movie through, anytime he's doing his DJing in the movie, Christian Slater smoking almost nonstop. And it actually said that he became physically ill several times during filming due to all the cigarette smoking he had to do for the film.
Oh wow,
that makes sense.
One thing that I think is a little funny, they actually had to, the writer and director, who's Alan Moyle, had to retool the script because of Slater. During production, Slater had his driver's license suspended for the second time in 2 years over DUIs at this point. So he had to retool the writer so that the lead character, Mark Hunter, doesn't drive, tells his listeners he's got no car, no license, and stuff like that because of it. And that's why in the climactic scene, his girlfriend Nora, who's played by Samantha Mathis, ends up driving the Jeep while Mark does his last Hard Harry broadcast from the passenger seat. All that had to be done because he couldn't drive because he lost his license due to DUIs.
It made it interesting. That was actually the most dramatic part was the driving. Was the chase.
So you're telling me even if you have an actual DUI as a person and you're acting in a movie and you're driving, you probably can still get arrested?
Apparently, I don't understand why, considering Martin Lawrence did Bad Boys 3 or whatever, and they gave his ass a fucking gun, but whatever. The last thing that I just thought is a little side note here is that Christian Slater played the main character. His love interest was played by Samantha Mathis. This was actually the first of 3 collaborations. They worked on this together. They later would star on 2 other projects. The first being Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest.
You're raining on Mikey's parade here.
I know. Fuck Mikey. And then Broken Arrow.
That's for OnlyFans.
But that's just a few things here.
Oh yeah, she was in Broken Arrow too, wasn't she? She was the park ranger. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Mikey, you want to go more in on that in your segment?
Yeah.
No, I don't have anything. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I do not have anything for movie memorabilia. This was too random of a movie to really have anything interesting for any movie memorabilia. But we do have some related reels with Mikey.
Do we? I don't know. I think you guys kind of covered it.
I've got at least one more if you need it.
You may have
I think
couple.
I'm good. No, let's. I kind of went off the wall. We've already done Christian Slater already with Gleaming the Cube, so I kind of didn't really go into Christian Slater's character. But I did pick Samantha Mathis. Yeah, she was in Broken Arrow with Christian Slater. Also, she was also in a great movie called American Psycho. I don't know if anybody's ever seen American Psycho. That's a very, very good thriller movie. And she also played Daisy in Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
Oh, she did.
So yeah,
the movie.
So we talk about
dude. She was the dog. She was the princess.
Coming soon on Back to the Retro Review. Mario Brothers the movie.
Yeah, it will be coming soon, I'm sure. But I picked Andy Romano, which the Bearded Geek mentioned earlier. He was Pepper in Major League. And then he was also in a good movie called The Fugitive. Have everybody seen The Fugitive with Harrison Ford? And then Annie Ross, which was the principal in this movie. She was in Throw Mama from the Train. It's also a fun, cute comedy. And then also she was in Superman 3. So Bearded Geek, I think you knew that one already.
Yes, I did.
So I like Superman 3. It was a good movie.
No.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's my 3 people.
All right.
I kept it pretty simple.
Sweet. So as we come to a close, do all the YouTuber things. Give us a good old thumbing. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us what you thought of the movie. I'm not quite sure when this will air, but we are running a contest through the end of April. So go check out the Jurassic Park review to see how to enter. All right, and I do believe that does it for this episode of Back to the Retro Review. For Mikey the Freak and Bebo, I am the Bearded Geek. Keep it retro, everybody.
Peace. Yeah.